Coming up in this week's video, it rains in Wales.
Landscape photography. Don't you just love it?
I tick something special off my bucket list.
Look at that behind me, how awesome is that?
Gareth and I get wiped out by a rogue wave. Lee's drone flying skills are certainly put to the test. It rains some more.
It is tipping down.
And as always, Gareth tries to steal the limelight.
Ready? Go!
Welcome to this week's video.
Look at that behind me, how awesome is that? This is Porthcawl in South Wales, and fingers crossed this is going to be a tick off the bucket list. Look at that.
2 weeks into the new year, I travelled down to South Wales to create a few vlogs. A month later, I've eventually found the time to create the videos. Because I struggled with the conditions, and also because I filmed it some time ago, I thought I'd try something a little different. I'm compressing all 4 locations into one short video. This is Porthcawl in South Wales. I grew up fairly close by, so I'm no stranger to the place. As you can see in the footage, Porthcawl is an amazing destination to photograph during stormy conditions. Photographing crashing waves at this location has been on my bucket list for years, so you can imagine how excited I was to be there. According to Dave Pearce though, this storm is quite calm. I can only imagine how crazy it must get.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking, look at that. Oh, watch out. It's a bit of an awkward one this, but that's me done here at this location. Now the problem you've got when photographing in stormy conditions, of course it makes it a nightmare, a real nightmare to vlog. Earlier on when we were grabbing pictures, not only is the wind horrendous, but it bucketed down with rain as well. My vlogging camera got wet, peed wet through. I've already lost one in the past few weeks. I don't particularly want to lose another one, so I had to stop filming. But I tell you what, it's just so difficult to pull yourself away from a place like this, because even though the tide is out too far now really to create those great waves, it's still looking angry out there, and it's still fantastic. What a place, honestly, what a place.
The storm and high tide both peaked at sunrise. Whilst this sounds great, it soon proved to be quite difficult. 1 minute the light is low, forcing our ISOs through the roof, and the next, the sun rose and we found ourselves shooting directly into bright light. Having said that, Gareth, David and I had an excellent morning, and these are just a few of my efforts.
What incredible beach! For miles, the only people on it are us.
Ready? Go! It's gonna move, isn't it? Oh, it's glitchy.
So this is Cefn Sidan beach in South Wales, and it's a rather remarkable place with an interesting history. But what this beach is more famous for is allegedly there's more than 300 shipwrecks along the water's edge. And as you could see, I use the word shipwrecks in the loosest of terms. And the reason why I say that is because more often than not they're just little bits of wood sticking out or maybe a frame of some shape or form. So it's not really a shipwreck as you or I would know it, but of course in the true sense of the word, it is a shipwreck.
This location was incredible, but unfortunately it yielded the worst set of images I have ever taken at a single location. The combination of long exposures on wet sand, waves crashing onto my tripod legs.
Whoa!
Combined with the harshest of lighting conditions, it was all just too much of a poor combination for me to achieve any kind of half decent images.
I hope it quite well is here. This would be a miracle if I stayed right.
Yeah.
While I'm on fish. On my knee, look.
Whilst this might look a little odd, what we were trying to do was capture the water as it crashed onto the near part of the wreck. We just thought it would add a little bit of interest in the image. There's a famous saying, if you play with fire, eventually you'll get burnt. Well, this is Gareth and I pushing our luck just a little too far.
If you can hear me over this wind, hi guys and welcome to this week's video. I'm in a place called Nash Point in South Wales, and to say it's blowing a hoolie is a massive understatement. It is wicked weather. Well, I was hoping that the wind would have died down or been less severe, if that's the correct terminology, down onto the sea. I was assuming that there was a concentration of wind at the top of the cliff, and in which case it would be a lot easier or a lot better down here, or a lot less wind, and clearly that's not the case. So to say this is going to be a tough shoot is an understatement. I'm here for sunset. Apparently you can photograph this area here at sunset or sunrise, but I'm here for sunset. Thankfully I am at sea level and the wind has subsided, or it's certainly a lot less, or it feels a lot less down here than it did from back up there earlier on. Okay, so first impressions, having a look around. Well, first of all, there's not going to be a sunset of note tonight because there's just that blanket grey sky. Fine if I'm going to choose to do minimalistic photography. That might well work in my favour. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but first impressions. Behind me, I think that's called the Sphinx. Maybe it's the other one, I'm not really sure. But a lot of texture in these rocks here, really interesting. A lot of lines that go out to sea, lines of rocks, big round boulders. So there's a lot to go at. It is quite interesting. My only slight worry is there's a bit of sea out there, a bit of rough sea, a bit of angry sea. I've only got an hour before sunset, so I am going to have to get my skates on and have a look around and see what I can try and photograph. The Sphinx apparently has been photographed to death, so David said avoid it at all costs. I will have to have a go at it. I've never photographed it before, but I can tell you now, I very much doubt I'm going to do it any justice, not with a sky like that. It is tipping down. So So with less than an hour to go before sunset, I'll sit it out for 20 minutes or so and just see if I can at least grab 1 or 2 pictures from down here so that my time isn't wasted. Oh, landscape photography. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? I took myself in close to this wall to get a bit of respite from that driving wind, that horizontal rain. Oh, it's stingy cold as well. I think the temperature is about 8 degrees, but according to AccuWeather, it's 8 degrees with a real feel of 1 degrees. And you could definitely tell that because that is biting against your face. It's really cold. Not bothered about the cold, it's just really so annoying that I can't get my camera out of my bag. As much as it's a grey, overcast day, there's always a shot to be had, and any shot is better than no shot. So like I say, I'll give it another 15 minutes or so, just to see if there's any respite. If there is, I'm straight back out there. All good things come to those who wait, apparently. I've got a respite. There's no rain. It stopped. And I'm pretty much on the edge of sunset. Although I couldn't even tell you where the sun is. It's that thick in the sky. But without further ado, I'm gonna grab a picture here as quick as I can so that my trip here isn't wasted. It's quite interesting. Let me just throw that on a video for you guys so you guys can see what I'm looking at. All around here you've got that natural frame. There's the 3 rocks I was talking about, which I'm going to use as foreground interest. Make sure that's in focus. And then there's the Sphinx in the background. So bottom left, top right, with that lovely bit of frame around the bottom edge here. Can you see how much that is all sloping down to the left hand side? Everything. And yet that level is 100% right. That's nuts. Okay, so I'm going to grab a shot aiming straight out of sea, flatten that water out and make it really minimalistic. So I'm just looking for something in the foreground of interest. And what I'm doing, I'm standing back for a couple of minutes and just watch what happens or what's happening with the waves. And every now and again when we get a rogue wave, I've seen a few that's come up here and then gone over the rocks there, creating that lovely bride veil look. That lovely bride veil look that I really like in the image. Also here, we've got that lovely cutout. So that could be in the bottom left hand side, drawing the viewer's eye out into the sea. Tide's on its way in as well, so I've got to be very careful. So, here we go. Look, you can see it now as the waves are coming. Oh, hang on. Right, that was a big wave. Right, so let that be a lesson to you. Me, I mean, obviously. Cool, love that. So I'll get you further back, I'll get my bag further back. Like I say, the tide is coming in. While I just had a slight panic and I moved my camera bag, that reminded me of a gift I got for Christmas that I think is a really good idea. My daughter bought me one of these Apple tags. It only cost about £20, but she bought me an Apple tag. Ooh, Jesus. But she said it's a good idea if I set the Apple tag to the wife's phone and then put my Apple tag in my camera bag. That means at any point the wife can track where I am. For instance, if I go up a mountain and I'm late home, she can check, you know, on her app where my bag is. And if it's still up a mountain and hasn't moved, she'll probably give it about 3 weeks before she rings the police just to make sure I really am dead. Then she'll know exactly where emergency services can recover my body. Not a good idea if you're having an affair, by the way. So peace of mind there for £20. I'm just looking at this as foreground interest here, just trying to figure out what I can do with it, if I lower it down or